Hello, everyone. It's Michael Jaco with Unleashing Intuition Secrets, joined once again by Cathy O'Brien. It's always a great honor and a pleasure to have you on, Cathy, because you reveal so much. Your work is, you were one of the first to come out and talk about all of the crazy stuff that, happening with, mind control, MK Ultra mind control, and of course your own experiences, unfortunately, with that, even as a child, coming up in a family like that. Maybe we can touch a little bit about that and then go into your latest book and the one that's coming out.
Wonderful. Yeah. Thank you so much for having me on. People are really ready to embrace the truth of what in the world has been going on, and they're realizing that it's mind control. So they're ready for the information and speaking out on it now for over 35 years on MK Ultra mind control and healing from it. It's deeply encouraging for me to see people finally, waking up to face the reality, because awareness is the first step towards positive, necessary change. Knowledge is our defense against mind control. And ultimately, this is an evolutionary time that we're living as a result.
Yeah. And we're seeing, seeing this is really being exposed. Of course, like I said, you were one of the first to expose this. And now it's really gaining traction. I saw this, a gentleman I've had on several times, former Border Control agent, J.J. Carroll, did a testimony at Congress. And he was talking about all of the hundreds of thousands of children that came in during the Biden administration. I think close to 300,000 or more. And he said that a lot of them are probably being, sexually molested as we speak. So it's tragedy. We've been talking about it for a long time, but it seems like now it's starting to get a little traction and people are really starting to wake up to it. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, the pedophilia, this child sex trafficking, has become one of the most lucrative businesses in the planet. How did we get to this point? Mind control, people just not paying attention to the magnitude of what was going on, being fed misinformation that pedophilia is a sexual preference. It is not. It is a control mechanism. It's torturous, it's traumatic, and it creates a compliant society. Ultimately, that is the goal of all of it. And I was exposed to it, used in it as a little child. I was used in the blackmail videos that were made in secret societies like my grandfather's Blue Masonic Lodge. Later in secret meeting places where these globalists have been meeting in secret. The Epstein Island of its time, Mackinac Island, Michigan. And I was used in the blackmail videos there. So there's nothing new. This has been going on a long time. And because people didn't understand that we share this planet with such a dark, negative, low vibration energy force, they couldn't really wrap their brains around it. But now that it's the most lucrative business in the world, so many families are adversely affected. Our system is totally corrupted. We've not seen the conventional justice. It's about time that people saw what's going on, because we got a long way to go to clean this mess up. And it begins with each and every one of us. We can't wait on government to do it for us. Government's been doing it to us. This administration has their hands full trying to unravel the corruption at the top, and the children can't wait. I mean, ultimately, it's time. It's time for us to all remember who we are, why we're here at this pivotal moment in humanity's history, gather our strength of spirit, and take a stand now for the children's sake.
Wow. You speak so eloquently on this. You've been doing this for a long time. Your memories go all the way back. So this is one of the great things. Your memories are very sharp, going all the way back to when you were a little girl, and your father molested you and did videos of you, and then they, I guess, discovered it, and the magistrate or whatever was like, well, you can go to jail, or you can send your daughter to the CIA mind control program. So yeah. Tell us how that worked, and let's dive into that, because that goes into your relationship with Mark Phillips, which we talked about briefly before the show, and I'd like to really get deeper into that.
Yeah, well, back as a young child, I was sexually abused from infancy, and my brain responded to that abuse. I couldn't think to know what my father was doing was wrong. I was an infant. But my brain knew, because we have this autogenic brain response mechanism to trauma too horrible to comprehend. My brain knew that I was enduring pain and suffocation. So it shut down neuron pathways in the brain and repressed that memory so the rest of the mind could develop and function normally. When we understand that that's the mind's sane defense to trauma too horrible to comprehend, we can start understanding how this pedophile agenda is affecting the brain firing of little children that are affected by this abuse, because mind control shuts down neuron pathways in the brain. If our brain's not firing and we're not thinking, then someone else is in control. We're easily led, highly suggestible, and manipulated. When our brains are firing properly, then we're in control. We have the ability to stand against the things that we know are wrong. We have the ability to protect our children. But people have been manipulated now for generations through this mechanism that the CIA was capitalizing on by the time I was born into it in Muskegon, Michigan in 1957. My father's sexual abuse extended into child pornography. He was caught sending that child pornography through the U.S. mails. And one of the local politicians I had been trafficked to since I was a little bitty toddler, over to my grandfather's Blue Masonic Lodge, told my father he could receive immunity from prosecution if he'd sell me into the project. My father did, and it shows how long our justice system has been corrupted under this so-called National Security Act. They invoked national security on the case. My father went free, received lucrative military contracts as a result of selling me into the project. And this local politician was Gerald Ford. He went on to become the unelected president of the United States. And as his political career escalated, so too did my victimization and MK Ultra, until I was used on a White House Pentagon level, deep in the swamp among these perpetrators who steal elections, who use drug and human trafficking across open borders to fund their globalist agenda, and who are using mind control to usher it in, because they know people wouldn't comply with this if they were thinking clearly. So instead, we've been manipulated by mind control for a long time in many forms. Repetition's the most basic form of mind control. Look at how much repetition we get through controlled media, through the so-called news networks. They all say the same thing. They parrot the same thing. How many times did you hear mask up, social distance, get the injection? Back in 2020, when mind control masked as a virus was unleashed on the global population. You know, that's a good example of how people have been conditioned. And now I think that everybody's had such a strong taste of mind control. They're wanting answers. They're wanting to be able to reclaim their freedom, reclaim their free thought and free will soul expression. They see that I have, and I'm deeply grateful to have voice at this time to empower others to reclaim their freedom. It's ultimately, mind control is a spiritual battle, and it's one where we have the victory when we remember who we are and why we're here. So it's a nice message to bring forward, but it's been a long, hard journey that has brought us to this point of global corruption.
Yeah, you have such a deep understanding. You speak so, you make it so simple to understand because you have a deep understanding. You talk about neurons in the brain, how they were shut down. Now, some of that was from you went to different mind control programs.
Yes.
DARPA. What are some of the other ones that you were involved in?
Yes, I was taken to various DARPA, NASA, and military installations. Early on, it was the underworld of Disney World, which is a DARPA mind control facility. So it's been a lot of different places for a strategic application of a very traumatic, torturous mind control program that also includes sleep, food, and water deprivation. When we understand those are key components of mind control, we understand, you know, what's happening in our skies, why our food's being bioengineered and genetically altered. And even now, they're using the 3D printers to make our food. I mean, come on, we're starving our brains. Ultimately, that's the goal. They're wanting to starve our brains, whether it's through sleep deprivation, working 9 to 5, 5 to 9 to put food on the table that has no nutritional value, water that's been contaminated with chemicals, all of those shut down neuron pathways in the brain. They want us compliant. They want us dumbed down. They're afraid of our brilliant minds, you know. So ultimately, we have a ways to go to reclaim our free thought and restore nutrition to our food. We've got a lot of different issues to address in order for people to effectively get their brains firing as sharp and brilliantly as they were designed.
Yeah, you've spoken about, so it kind of starts to make a little bit more sense to me. You've spoken about how you were trafficked to presidents and high-ranking officials and so forth. So when they fractured your brain, they compartmentalized it as well.
Yes.
With this MK Ultra mind control and the DARPA and the NASA and all these other programs, military programs, so that they could give you information that you would also take to some of these presidents and high-ranking officials, and you would pass information. Is that correct?
Absolutely. I was used sexually, and I was used to compromise various people in positions of power and influence. And above all, I was used to deliver messages to and from these globalist leaders, and whether they were the drug lords or the political people at the top, whoever it was, I was delivering those messages because they thought, what better place to keep secret information than in the mind of someone who can't think to bring that information to mind. It would only come forward when it was triggered, because that's the way the MK Ultra mind control was set up.
Wow. It's incredible. And, you know, for a longest time, I was like, Cathy O'Brien, she was the one they chose. But now we're starting to see all of these other women are coming forward after you, thankfully, have revealed, and more people are coming forward saying they were also involved, not just in the U.S., but all over the world. I saw this one woman that was talking almost not identical to you, but she had a similar story of how the Rothschilds had basically taken her as a little girl and had brought her into the same format that you're talking about to pass information, not only sexual abuse, because I always thought, it was just about sexual abuse, but it's like you said, and you said a key word, mainly to pass information. Wow. That's like a whole nother level again. Oh my God.
Yeah, it is. And there's so many survivors who are coming forward now. They've got more understanding. A year ago, almost to the day, the MK Ultra files were finally released, unredacted, all the information, thousands of pages of the CIA's involvement, the DIA's involvement, and where these DARPA, NASA, and military installations are, where the laboratories were. All this information has come forward. So all these survivors who have been trying to bring this information to light and just been said, oh, that can't be real. Now the evidence is there. So they're joining voices, they're exercising their voices more, they're feeling more secured in being able to talk about something that is absolutely validated now.
Yeah, wow. And the way that you broke free. Now, looking at your recent book, it finally dawned on me. I thought that Mark Phillips was just a random CIA guy that saw that you're being abused and decided to help you out. He was involved in the opposite, to help people that were mind controlled and so forth. Because we know, and you've spoken about this quite frequently, about how the Nazi system basically came to America, the mind control system from the Nazis, and after World War II, and probably even before, really. So they were using that, and he was involved in like countering that, because like me, I was involved in good programs. Mark Phillips involved in good programs. We started to see that there's a very evil side to the CIA and some of these other organizations, and we tried to counter that. And it sounds like that's what he did with you. So you were targeted at 30. So it's pretty common, like you've talked about, once you reach 30, and it's almost like that's when you have the potential of waking up and using what they used against you, against them, because you start to reprogram yourself like you've done. You've used their programming to unprogram and we can maybe talk a little bit about that, but in a second. But Mark Phillips, absolutely amazing what happened with you guys. So you're targeted to be, burned alive at 30 years old, because you're probably at the point where everybody starts to wake up. And tell us about what happened then.
Yeah, electrochemical changes happen in the brain around age 30. And it's like a saving grace mechanism. Our brains are so perfect and amazing, but they'll actually start opening neuron pathways and memory starts leaking out. And so they didn't want that to happen because I'd been exposed to such high level secrets. So I was going to be burned at Bohemian Grove, sacrificed there. That's what those sacrifices are about, is eliminating MK Ultra mind control slaves who are reaching age 30, so that the people, the perpetrators, those who were involved in the passing of secrets and everything else, can witness that person being killed, and so they assume the secrets die with. And that's just part of their cold-hearted attitude and ritual. Mark Phillips
that would make sense too, because they're being shown that we're going to protect you. Here's one of our people that we have supplied you with over these years, and part of our system, and just to protect you and protect the system, this is what we do. Wow. Oh my God. Horrible.
Yeah, and very fortunately for me, Mark Phillips intercepted and lifted my daughter and me right out of the Washington, D.C. human trafficking swamp, all the way back in 1988. I mean, before most people even knew there was a swamp, or that, that drug and human trafficking was funding a globalist agenda, that the child sex trafficking had become such a dominant force driving this criminal network, not only financially, but through their blackmail methodism. So Mark was livid that people were being targeted for mind control. He was livid that the people in positions of power and influence were being compromised many different ways, whether through the blackmail or coercion, or having their families' lives threatened, or whatever methods they were using. They were taking control of a lot of otherwise good people who became afraid to stand up to this global power. But there were many people behind the scene. Mark wasn't the only one. There were many good people in positions of power and influence. I mean, look at you were making a difference where you were, and there were so many good people, but they didn't have voice. They weren't, given voice in the media. It wasn't brought to light what was going on. So, Mark had decided that since he was bound by laws of sedition and couldn't release information, he could make a difference by empowering Kelly and I to heal and lifted us out of that victimization. So I'm so fortunate that he chose us, and that I was able to heal through the methods that he reminded me are within us all. Because Mark found birthright information on healing from trauma, healing from even medical traumas, were buried under national security, so that people became more reliant and compliant on big pharma, big government, and that aspect. So our birthright information, that's our natural defense against mind control, is buried under national security. And Mark just reminded me of that. It's not that he deprogrammed me. He reminded me that it's within us all to heal. So by healing from within, we're able to evolve with the knowledge that's our defense against mind control going forward. We're able to access our own resiliency of body, mind, and spirit that we've been blessed with. The healing that happens on that level makes it where I couldn't be triggered. I couldn't be triggered back in. Nobody could control me anymore. After 2 years, I was already speaking out it was out of love for my daughter, who had been thrust into the corrupted Child Protective Services system, this corrupt system that's a catch net operation for the child sex trafficking rings. She was medically kidnapped right out of a hospital and thrust into custody. So I was doing all I could to draw awareness to her need, to her case, and
the Child Protective Services are all involved in this. It's like crazy.
It is. The people know that now. You know, and there's so many people taking action outside the system to be able to help effectively help the children, to help the survivors, where they're not just run back through the cycle that has been deeply rooted and established.
Yeah, you've been foremost in the forefront of helping people understand this and break free from it, because pretty much all of us have been exposed to MK Ultra, like you just said in the beginning of the show, the masking and the social distancing. That was MK Ultra on a widespread basis.
Yes, it was.
And this is your website, trans-formation.com. So your newest book, Resolutions, and I like the way you highlighted soul. This collection of your poems and so forth. So there is great information here. Here's a sample in here. So I was scrolling through this, and I got to the point where this is where Mark taught you how to do take pieces of information that anything that came to you. So you started to learn how to break free from the programming. Tell us a little bit about this.
Yeah, it's triggers aren't necessarily a bad thing. They give us access to our subconscious mind. They give us access to what's driving us, and it helps us to stay in control when we learn to embrace them consciously. So he taught me to make a collage to access my own subconscious mind. He gave me a heap of newspapers and magazines, and he said, clip out anything that gives you cause to pause, something that really catches your attention. So I cut them out, collected all those images in a box. And Mark told me, he said, now how you assemble those images is like assembling bits and pieces of your own mind. It's like pulling together all those fragments of programming. So I was able to pull these collages together. It was a very powerful way of gaining access into my subconscious. While I did that, of course, I kept a pen and paper right there so I could write out the memory, write out the trigger, write out what it was about, and write it out in full detail, either later or right at the time. But that was a major part of my healing process. And then after I'd done that, I still had to cope with the reality of it all. So I vented through poetry, and I started venting through the poetry immediately by taking it, like gave me control over the word manipulation. Many of these poems are, three definitions of the same word, the kind of wordplay that they use on the subconscious mind. So it's a good view into that. But it's also, it helped me to deal with, horrific abusive perpetrators, just to be able to cope. It gave me an ability to have compassion for those like Bush Jr., who was also MK Ultra, groomed for the presidency. And so I vented a few poems his direction that included all his codes, keys, and triggers that I knew were part of his MK Ultra mind control programming. So it was like, well, if only he'd read this, he'd wake up.
Unbelievable. This is like on another level.
Yeah, so it's very loaded. Ultimately, this is part of a healing process that I encourage others to use. And I've got a 3-part healing series now with PTSD Time to Heal, which is, how Mark taught me to heal. It's the birthright knowledge. It reminds us all that it's within us to heal. And then this resolutions, and it's soon to be followed up by my next book, Align with the Divine, because so many survivors are so immersed in the past that, sometimes we need to pull our head from the past in order to see the future and see where we're going and understand what life is really all about. And Align with the Divine reminds us that life is filled with miracles, that we have been blessed with so many capabilities and intuitions, heightened capacities that we can access. They're not evil. Our brains are perfect. They're not evil. And we can access telepathy, heightened intuition, remote viewing. We have all these capabilities that we were blasted into through the trauma. They're ours to use. Because when we use them, it calms the overactive adrenal system, from the trauma, and it calms it back down because we have these other senses. We can stay in self-control. And it reminds us to embrace the beauty of life, to live the love we are. What happens to us in life isn't who we are. Who we are is within, and it's divinely protected and just waiting to be freed. So it's a good reminder.
Yeah, you talk about, I went through some extreme training, and it opened up some pathways to me, spiritual. When I became older, like you talk about that 30-year, when I hit 30 and started in my 40s and so forth, it really started to unleash a lot of different aspects, capabilities that we all have, like you talk about. Did your MK Ultra and all that stuff, did they push you into those zones early on?
Not really. They were focused on delivering messages and using me sexually and trauma and the criminal operations they had me working in. They weren't interested in that. Although those intuitions, those capabilities were there, they were heightened. It's like being blasted into the primitive parts of the brain. So what they use for bad, I can use for good. What they use for torture demonstrations, I could use for healing, because our bodies are capable of so much more than we realize. It's been generations we have forgotten that we have the ability of mind over matter over so much of our health. So being able to access all those aspects in my healing process really accelerated my healing, mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, on really every level. And it's a beautiful part of our being. We don't need trauma to remember that our brains are so phenomenal. We just need to start accessing this. So Align with the Divine is something that everybody everywhere can apply to themselves to start accessing the capabilities that we have that ultimately free us from so much control by big pharma and the medical impositions that we've all been through. No one would have had to comply with mind control master as a virus if they'd only known this information. I sure didn't comply,
Nor did I. So,
we don't have to.
Because we're awakened, and so
Yes.
that's our goal, to help more people understand that we all have this capability. We don't need to be in their mind control, because that's what they're doing, and most people are captured in that their mind control system. So once you free yourself from that mind control, like you and I have, and others fortunately have, then all of these amazing blessings come to us. These abilities, like you talk about, that are like, some people are like, oh, there's no way. No, there's no way if you stay in that mind control system. But when you break free from it, it is available to you. These things I do and greater you will do, like Jesus said. So we that have broken free from their system are doing these things, and that's the beauty of your work and your insights, breaking free from that satanic Luciferian mind control system, which is absolutely evil. Almost everyone agrees. Yeah. Are you kidding? That's satanic. Yeah. The Masonic lodges and all that kind of stuff. I've had dozens and dozens and dozens of people that have been on and talk about how these Masonic lodges are very, very negative, very dark.
Very much so. And we've got so many people in mental health that have been deliberately trained wrong. so that they continue to perpetuate a victim mentality. When survivors reach outside themselves to so-called therapy, they're usually just given worse situations and taken further from their own truth. Truth is within, and it's within us all to heal. When we look outside ourselves, we're led astray. That's just how it works, whether we're doing it in a religious capacity and being led astray that way, or if we're doing it through going to a hypnotherapist that is meddling around in our subconscious mind. People who have been traumatized in MK Ultra are in a state of trance. They need to be dehypnotized. They don't need another hypnotist messing with their mind. When the brain knows it's safe, the neuron pathways will start to open, and the brain will never acknowledge safety if it's being intruded upon by a hypnotherapist, by bad therapy, by group therapy, by anyone imposing their will on us. The brain won't respond properly. So it's really within us all to heal ourselves, and we need to not look outside ourselves to the deliberately corrupted and ignorant mental health system, especially artificial intelligence mental health that's come out now. Can you believe that online? Like what? So many survivors have like a death program in place or a suicide program in place if they reveal the secrets. I mean, that's basic control of a little child. You know, you tell your parents what we just did, and grandma will die, or your dog will die, or whatever. These programs go deep into place if the secrets are told. Well, imagine what happens when a survivor is online and then realize their secrets just went all over the internet, all over everywhere, and can't really be pulled back in. They panic. They have this internal panic without even the conscious realization of where it's coming from. It kicks it off, and it's creating more problems than it's solving at all. So, I'm adamantly opposed to online therapy. I'm adamantly opposed to what's being pushed through mental health to deliberately perpetuate a victim mentality. People need to remember, it's not, we're divinely protected. We have an ability to heal. We've just got to remember that we have that ability. And so that's my big job now. And I am so busy because people want the information, is just sharing that basic birthright information back out there. Remind people.
Yeah, and there's a new article that caught my eye this morning. Teen dies just 3 hours after being sex-torted as nefarious international groups like 764 targets U.S. kids. It's 100% murder, his dad says. So these teens are basically, they come in and they find out a little bit of information about them, and then they have someone like maybe is like could be a mate for them, or girlfriend or something, and they start texting them. And it's basically this group that's in Africa somewhere, and they're fooling these young men. They're teenagers, but right at the young man stage. That show me your body, and they kind of like play around with it. Once they do that, then they use that against them to extort them. So they have this control. They have this knowledge of the way the mind works. They get in good with them, and then they start to manipulate them. So this is another reason why people need to understand, this isn't just a few people that get, pulled into this. This is very widespread.
Yeah, and it's happening more and more in so many different ways with artificial intelligence jumping in on it, because ultimately the whole DARPA-generated plan is artificial intelligence, and it's been to align us with artificial intelligence, to align us with this flat linear thinking. In order for us to be that flat linear thinking, we can't have our strength of human spirit and the infinite power of love, the wisdom that comes with the soul expression of free thought. And Mark always said, wisdom outthinks their criminal minds every time. It does. Wisdom outthinks artificial intelligence every time. We don't have to fear it. We have the victory when we remember that we have that within us. We have the saving grace within us. We have that infinite strength of the human spirit and power of love that gives us the wisdom to not comply, the wisdom to stand against it, the wisdom to outthink it. You know, we have that victory. So I have no fear of any of that. What's difficult is getting the information out there far enough, fast enough to empower people to realize and start living their life's purpose.
Yeah, very good. So yeah, there's lots of, like you said, there's lots of information that can be share with people. Let's do another walk through your website, the transformation. You go down through here. There's at the bottom of your site is and we played this clip before, but it's worth playing once again. It has all your books, all kinds of information on the site. Events, PTSD Time to Heal, order books, media, and so forth. But at the bottom there is you did this trance, mind control, human slavery, and healing the nation trance movie. So you can watch the beginning of that. Let's it's just like about a minute. Let's watch this a little bit.
It was so hard to come running out of a hell that nobody believed existed. My name is Cathy O'Brien, and I'm a survivor of MK Ultra mind control. The MK Ultra program was to ultimately control the minds of the population for implementing what Adolf Hitler first termed the New World Order. When girls reached age 30, they were murdered or they were sacrificed. I was going to be killed as well. I was to go out in a blaze of glory and be burned alive. I'm so fortunate that an intelligence insider who saw the kind of corruption that was going on in the highest levels of government decided to take action and rescued me and saved my life so that we could begin to expose what was being done.
So yeah, that movie's available, and I watch that movie. It's a fantastic movie. It's one of those that I recommend that people see. Watch that movie. It'll give you deeper insights. I mean, that 1 minute and 37 second clip is like just opened you right up. It's like, wow. It's like, so it goes deep into each one of those areas. It's a very, very insightful movie. So thanks for doing that. Now tell us a little bit about your upcoming book. You have the new book that's come out with your poems and so forth you've done over the years, but what is this new book you have?
Yeah, the Align with the Divine. It should be out and then within the next couple of weeks. And I'm super excited about it because it's the part of healing that most survivors don't even know exists. It's something that Mark had taught me from the very beginning because he, as a martial artist, had total control over his body, his mind. He had access to seemingly superhuman capabilities, abilities for healing, abilities to accomplish the seemingly impossible, like martial artists do, moving faster than the eye can see. Yep. So he had those abilities, and I had those abilities within me from my experience in MK Ultra. And we all have access to it when we remember that. So Align with the Divine is a reminder of that aspect so that people will start living their purpose, live the love they are, embrace the miracles that are all around us, and realize they don't have to live in victim mode their whole life just because of what happened to them. What happened to us isn't who we are. Who we are is within. It's divinely protected. It's ready to be accessed at any time and brought back to the surface. It's the innocence, the purity, the joy, the ability to get out and breathe the air and feel the sun on your skin and the earth beneath your feet, to pet your dog, to communicate with a horse, to be able to reach out to each other in our community and communicate again, eye to eye, heart to heart, soul to soul. It's getting back to the very humanity within us, because that humanity is very much deliberately under attack for mind control purposes. And these perpetrators haven't been around them. Their greatest fear is the strength of the human spirit. They can't reach it. It's too high of a vibration. They're a low, dark, negative vibration that can't reach the strength of the human spirit. They can't even reach it through satanic ritual when they lie about their power. They don't have power. What their power is trauma over the human mind so that we can't think to bring to mind the reality of the strength of the human spirit. Mm-hmm. All they can do is separate us from it by stopping our free thought, our ability to align with the divine within. So we've got a disconnect there that we've got to get back. It's been under attack for generations now, and it's still right there waiting for us. But we need to remember that this is our time. It's our time to align with the divine. It's our time to shine bright, because their darkness can't creep in on our light. When we remember we have the victory, we have the high vibration, we have the saving grace within us, and it's time to start living it. The children need us to do it now.
Totally agree. Totally agree. Wow, that's fantastic. And there's more of that coming. I think we're moving into this higher consciousness very quickly now. It's just picking up pace. They're going to get desperate. They're going to try some crazy things, but I think we're going to not going to be dissuaded at all from our path, which is connection to divine source on an even higher and higher level. So it's fascinating, miraculous time we live in.
It is, and I'm excited to see that even now they're embracing the concept of telepathy for helping autistic children, and that's the information that I turned in very, very early on, around 1996, turned it into the Autism Society. Whether that had anything to do with it or not, the fact is they're very highly telepathic, and that's where we can connect and help. There's so many that can be helped on the level of telepathic vibration, even reaching out to these little children who have been trafficked. They're highly telepathic. They're very sensitive to vibration. And if we exude love, if we exude peace, not fear, if we exude that peace, we exude that love, and assure them in the silence that they'll be okay, then it makes all the difference in the world for them. We have more power in our own within than there is in the whole world. We can make all the difference we need to by tapping into that source. It's our ultimate victory. It's our saving grace. It's there for all of us.
Fantastic. So you have the new book coming out, or you have any events scheduled, or anything coming up?
Yes, I've been speaking out a lot to various organizations, been teaching to get information out on actual healing. I just did a course with the Embassy of Life Mastery that was an 8-hour course on teaching, and I'll be going back on that. But I'm doing more and more of that because people are ready for that information. They want to know how they can apply it in their own lives. And then I'm working with ARC, the Association for the Recovery of Children, and being able to present the information on helping the survivors. That's a very organized information that's very applicable and is empowering people from all walks of life to be able to start making a difference in their own backyard without waiting for government to come in and do it for them. We've got to find a way to be effective in helping children outside the system. The system's too corrupt, and all the obstacles that have been in the way of people helping people have been removed. We have been told by this administration that the power has been returned to the people. They don't know what that means. It means we the people have the power. We the people have the personal responsibility to start making the difference ourselves and stop waiting on someone to do it for us. It's up to us. So ARC is empowering people to make that difference themselves. And I'm very, very pleased to be a part of those educational processes that are happening all across the nation.
Wow, that's fantastic. Yeah, and the breaking down the system is happening, but like you said, we have to formulate new systems, because the old system that the government has created, they're all completely corrupt and have to completely go away. There's no help, no salvaging those organizations. They're just too deeply corrupt, and the people that are involved in them are completely corrupt. So yeah, we the people have to start doing it. And I'm glad here there are organizations out there that are really starting to kick this off and get involved on a very aggressive level. Great.
Very aggressive level. And we've reached a point now where all these years that my daughter and I have been separated by so many different means that we're free now. We are having so much fun being together, and living life every day. We don't just sit around and whine about the past. We are just absolutely excited to see what's going on, because what we learned from our past gives us eyes to literally see what's going on, and it gives us a filter of such encouragement. It's so good, and to be able to share the observations with her and have someone to talk about that's just so wise and awake and aware and brilliant as she is. She's so amazing. She was saying the other day, this great awakening is real, but wow, people sure have a long way to go to catch up. And it's so true. We do. We got a ways to go. We got a lot of corruption to unravel, but we've also got a long way to go to remember that we have all the power, and these perpetrators only have as much power as we give them or let them steal. We got it all. We got it all, and we're free to embrace that now without the obstacles have been removed from our path. This is the most amazing time to be alive, and people are only just now starting to open their eyes to realize oh, I'm free. I can do this. And they're starting to get out in their communities and make that difference.
Yeah, I totally agree. And for longest time, like yourself, you would reveal, and there'd be just all these vicious attacks from all different, the news media, and then politicians that are corrupted, all kind of crazy stuff. A lot of that is falling away now. Yeah. So it's just like President Trump has said, it's basically been given to you. There's still a few that are out there, but it's less and less disinformation, because that was part of the disinformation that would come in and say, oh no, there's no MK Ultra, we never do anything like that. But there's so much information that's coming in that proves that it is the case, that people are they're skeptical now, and that's good. So and through that skepticism, they're starting to look, and they're starting to see, like you're talking about, and becoming aware is part of the process, and then saying no more of that. Now we're going to create, like we're talking about, the new future. Yeah, and it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, and all these children that have been trafficked, they have the most powerful testimonies when they heal from within themselves and remember that why they were able to even survive it. We have been so blessed, and it's a realization that's starting to move through humanity. And I think these children are going to be wisely lighting that path forward for all of us. There's so much hope for them and in them that we can dare to see their plight, because we know they can be helped, they can be healed, and we can empower them to do it.
Very good. All right, Cathy, so great to have you on again. Great reveals. Just every time you come on, it's like I'm just wowed. and the audience is wild because you're just like reveal such great information, but you leave us all with that glimmer, and now it's becoming a bright light of hope and justice and having a beautiful earth going forward.
Yeah. We're getting there.
We're getting there, and thanks to you, Earth Angel. Fortunately, you have been protected to be able to stay in this operation to unveil all this and help humanity wake up. So yeah, thank you so much for your work.
Thank you. Long as I'm here, I'm going to keep bringing that truth to light, and I appreciate you giving me voice here today. Thank you.
Absolutely, thank you.